This story is brought to you by the Health and Homeopathy podcast.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, any friends who are hearing this, I am notorious for talking about pinworms, okay? Like, I am that person, like, people, they dread. Somehow they say, any conversation, I find a way to work it in. Any conversation. So, and I let people know about the life cycle of the pinworm, the difference between the female and male version of the pinworm, so I can identify them. Listen, I know way too much about the pinworm. And I remember looking up fear of pinworms because I felt like I was treating it so many times. And it just said the word for fear of worms. No, not fear of worms, just fear of pinworms specifically. And I've dealt with it so many times. First, it was like my first child and then my second child. And I don't know that I've ever seen it in my third, but I'm sure she was still getting it. But I've used that Pyrantel, Pinworms. It's like basically that, Joette talks about it. It's basically like a pesticide, a low-level pesticide you're giving to your kids. But it is one of those things where you're like, I just will not wait for this to work itself out for 3 months. I just will not. So I have friends who have it like on their subscribe and save. Okay. It's like a rotation. They get it in there because once one kid gets it, the other ones are bound to get it. Or I have a friend who she sees her son like shoveling dirt into his mouth. And she gets a notification. She sees that her husband went and bought some to have shipped to the house, just seeing it, his son like kind of like, I'm just waiting for it to happen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I had extensive experience with the pinworm and I hate it so very much. And when I think on the group, when I had talked about is my daughter, I mean, I would treat her and then I don't know if it was like 6 weeks later, I would see them again. And so I dread the moment where I feel like it's itchy and I'm like, no, because you have to basically get a light, you have to check, you have to make sure they're not there. And when you see them, you just want to cry. It's the worst. And so I finally looked up, I think it was in the additional protocols book, and I got, and it's Cinna-6X twice a day, and Ticorium 200C twice a day. And so I went ahead and I got those. I think I already had them. And I just was like, okay, well, I'm gonna treat her one more time with the Pyrantel, which then is called Reese's, like pinworm medicine or something. And then basically gonna just keep her on this protocol. And so I just kept her. So I want to say, and someone recommended 4 months or something. So I think for 4 months, she was on that protocol. And I did not see any during that time at all. And what was really crazy is I finally figured, because I asked Christina, she said, yeah, just keep on going. I think it was 3 or 4 months. She said, keep going. You're fine. I'm like, okay. So I kept her on it and I didn't see any pinworms. And it's the craziest thing. I stopped it for 5 days. And you better believe my daughter told me I had something itching. And I'm like, no. And so I was like, no, this is not fair. This is not right. And so I looked, and of course she had pinworms. And I was like, this is so weird. And so basically I talked to Christina about it, and she goes, go back on the protocol until the next time I see you, basically. And so she's like, I'm going to try to get a deeper acting remedy that's specific for her. Because she was just telling me some kids think of things like mosquito bites or lice or pinworms are just, some kids are just, it's attracted to them.
Be sure to like and subscribe and share this story with someone who needs the healing power of homeopathy.